What are you most curious about right
Mm,
now? And I
mm.
think that will get into your what you're interested in. Julia.
You want me to go first?
Yes, so that Tyrone has a little more context.
Sure. Although I bet he knows. I mean, I don't want to. I kind of want to know what he's interested in
Okay,
without
well then
saying.
Tyrone, you go first. What are you most curious about?
I am curious because of my everyday job and because I have two kids who are two boys that are college age, and understanding where the arc of the story is for Black and Brown people in America. How do we create generational impact? I'm
Mhm.
not concerned about generational wealth because wealth is my ability to make a decision, right? But how do we create spaces for generational impact in ways that we haven't given ourselves permission, and I do mean permission to really think in that way. Julie, I did get a chance to look at your background, and you remind me of Diane Zohar, the stuff that you're
Ooh,
doing, right
thank you.
around this idea of quantum, this
Yep.
quantum thinking,
Yep.
and I am not looking. I'm always curious and understanding the problem to be solved, not the solution, because I don't think if you pre-stage a solution, you'll just be running around looking for a problem. But truly understanding the problem of where is it that kids, my sons who are about to be 19 and 21, where are they in creating sustainable communities for themselves,
Yeah.
sustainable world for themselves, that what feels like right now, just listening to what feels like a major cognitive and social shift in America, how are they going to survive? And I feel really emotional about that because it's not just my kids. I teach at a local regional historically black college university here in Maryland, and I'm looking at those kids. I'm like, how are they going to make it? And so I'm really curious about that. What can I do to make that happen?
That's
Mhm.
awesome. I have a 24-year-old son, and become I'm doing a new thing on Fridays on LinkedIn where I promote a Gen Z person. Like
Mm-hmm.
just that might be looking for a job or whatever that I meet and I think is awesome. And I would love to meet your sons and promote them if that's of
Cool.
interest. But also, I have been thinking a lot about how Gen Z contains the seeds in it, not just of surviving, but of thriving
Yeah.
by creating a new culture. So they're not going to survive. I guess, let me put this up another way. The culture's not going to survive them.
Yeah.
They're going to thrive because they're creating a new culture. So it's the culture is in fact one that is on the way out, and you could feel it. These are the death throes of a culture in which humility, love, compassion are considered weak.
Oh my God. Whew. Yeah. 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 And how do we, in a world where Moore's law has been violated to the point where it's now down to minutes and not weeks or months, the only thing that's left is your ability to connect, right? So I was listening, went to San Francisco for an event, and on the way out, I was listening to the CEO of NVIDIA, and he said, it used to be reading in right before the pandemic, several years before the pandemic, it's reading, writing, arithmetic, and coding. And he's like, why would you want to do that? It's reading, writing, arithmetic, and AI, which means that you need to know how to do prompts, which means you know how to be curious, which means you know how to have a critical way of thinking about the world, which means you probably have to have some empathy about the other and what's curious about the other. And if you can't have that, now you're at a waste. But to your point, Julia, now you end up with people who are like, no, I'm right. What? There's 7 billion people on the planet. How are you right?
What
Except
are the chances?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. What are the chances?
you have 1 in 7 billion perspective on the
Yeah.
world, but you
Yeah.
ain't right.
Well, so and that's the thing is even the concept of right. So I guess what I'm interested in the world of what I'm really interested right now in the world of science is not really a scientific topic per se. In other words, one that a scientist would study,
Mm,
except maybe a historian of science. But more like the social, emotional,
Oh my
cultural
God.
change that's happening in science, where scientists are saying the stuff that we're saying. Younger scientists are coming up and saying the system is bankrupt, academic publishing is bankrupt, the caste system in the lab where, you know, in the sciences where you work forever and you never make any money and then you're basically an indentured servant to this person, that's bankrupt. The whole tier one research institution that allows you to turn in your soul in exchange for status is bankrupt.